Okay, we're going to look at rotational angles. And the word rotational essentially deals with the concept of like a circle. So an entire rotation, like this circle here, around, and usually we start from this arm on our Cartesian plane. Okay, an entire rotation, and if you see that's technically from here to here, that would be a rotation, is essentially the idea of a circle. And a circle is 360 degrees in terms of rotation. If you look at this, this is pretty much like a 90 degree, 90 degree, 90 degree, and 90 degree. And 4 90s is 360, okay? So there's some ideas we really want to get used to seeing. And I guess maybe I'll quickly make it in the first one. Our first blue one, that is essentially a 90 degree angle, okay? And we kind of use this symbol to represent it. From the starting arm again, all the way to here, okay? And I'm going to kind of draw this here. That's actually 180 degrees, and that would be 2 90s, okay? This purple guy here, he's going to go from here to here. Okay, let's do 3 of the quadrants, and they call them quadrants because they split into 4. It's like this idea here, it kind of goes this far. That's 270 degrees. And then finally, an entire rotation, and let's keep that there. Let's steal one of the circles. An entire rotation is 360 degrees. Okay, these are essentially the 4 bases we're going to use for measuring rotational angles, okay? So let's go around this. If we're starting here, we're essentially looking to see how many times we pass this line as we rotate. So in the first one, we pass it once, okay? And as you can see, it does that. So that means right away, we have a circle. So I'm going to take this circle. That's going to be one of the rotations. We already know we have 360 degrees in terms of our angle. So we got 360 to start. And then, and maybe we'll kind of color over so we see where we've gone. That's from there. We already have 360 to start. Does that make sense so far? Yep. Okay. Next one, we're going from here, and I'm going to go to the closest one of these angles as I can. Okay? And it looks like I'm going to about here. So from here to here, which of these 4 are we using?
270.
Okay. Now, 270 would technically actually be all the way to here. And I can use 270 if I want, but I think it might be easier if we only go a half a rotation. Yeah. And that's what this is, a half a rotation. So that's going to be 180 degrees, okay? So we have another half rotation, that's 180 degrees. And then that's technically only taking us to that part. The final, from here to here, and they're telling us how far that is. How far is that little part?
20 degrees.
20. So we're going to kind of just draw a little angle here. That was 20 degrees. So I've kind of split it into full rotations, half rotations, and that little angle. Now in this one, the reason we added is because our half rotation only took us to here, and there was a little more space to go. Okay? We're going to add these together, so we'll quickly add them up to get an answer here. This is going to give us 10, 16, so 0, 6, carry the 1, 4, 560 degrees. So this is a 560 degree rotation. Let's say, okay, so that was example 1, the first way to solve example 2, or 1. Let's call this example 1A. Let's say I solve this a different way. Well, we definitely have a full rotation, so we'll take another circle. Okay, and remember you said 270? Let's try 270. So here's 360. If I'd gone to 270, that would have been, I'm just going to show you with this purple here, that would have been all the way to here. Okay, so let's add a little 270 to it. Okay, we did this, so that's another 270. But the problem is I've now gone past where I need to be. There's nothing wrong with that. I know this is 20. How far past have I gone?
About 80 degrees, well, maybe 40.
Well, we can actually figure it out exactly. If we remember, each quadrant is 90 degrees. And if this is used 20 of it, what is the rest of it? How would we figure that out?
90 subtract 20.
90 subtract 20. And I'm going to tell you that 90 subtract 20 is 70. So I'm going to say we have to subtract by 70 degrees. Okay? So in this case, we add the first 2. Okay? And then we subtract 70. Well, I'm going to do a little mental math here. 270 minus 70 is going to be 200. So that's how we cancel that out.
Yeah.
And then 360 plus 200 is 560. So in this case, and it kind of looks complicated here, you could have gone this far and then added it, or you could have gone past and subtracted backwards.
Okay.
It's up to you. Okay? So let's go to our next one. our next one, we start here. Here's one rotation, right? And we'll do that in green. So we got one rotation, pull out a circle. Okay, I guess we'll do it on the right here. Here's one rotation. Next one will be from blue. Here's another rotation. So that's two full rotations. That's another circle. And then finally, our last one here, if you notice, it's actually not quite, but almost makes a full rotation. So from this point, I have to make a decision. Do I want to go all the way and make a rotation and subtract from it? Or do I want to figure out how far this is? And personally, I think it'll be easier if we go all the way. Mm-hmm. So we take 3 full rotations. We know this is 360. And then we decide to go back 20 degrees. So we subtract 20 degrees at the end. Okay? Does that make sense what I've done there?
Yeah.
Okay, so I take my 360, I think that's 720, plus 360, that's 1080. Okay? Minus 20, 1080 minus 20 is going to be 1060. That's 1060 degree rotation. Okay, and these are both positive. Now, in our next example, it's actually gone the opposite direction. And what that means is we just use negative rotations, negative values. The absolute value of the number are the exact same. So let's do this again. Maybe I'll do it in, what color would be good here? Black might be a good one to show up. Okay, so we start here. Here's a full rotation. So we got one full rotation in negative direction. So I'm going to use negative 360 for this. Okay. And then from there, we'll do the red. It comes around. And again, I get to this point, I have to decide, do I want to stop here and figure out the difference, or do I want to make a full rotation and then go back? What do you think would be easy?
Make the full rotation.
I think making that full rotation, so we now have 2 full rotations. Okay. 2 full negative 360s. And then let's come back, and how far are we coming back?
30 degrees.
Okay, so this direction is a what? Negative or positive direction?
Oh, negative.
Well, we're coming back from this, you're right, but I want you to keep in mind, we didn't quite talk about this, and I should have actually. I should have mentioned this as we went through. And this would be the best example for it. See how we made our rotations, and then I went this way, I went counter,
yeah.
No, sorry, I went clockwise. Mm-hmm. I used negative for that.
Okay.
In these rotations, for the first one, we used negative 360, then we went around again. This direction is actually the positive direction, okay? So because I'm using negative 360 and negative 360, I'm going to add 30 degrees, and that's the opposite direction we're going. A positive value is opposite of these negatives. Okay, so we're kind of using opposite directions. Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah. So, and I guess maybe I should write that. This is a positive direction, while this is a negative direction. Okay, so we'll keep that in mind. So when we're adding it up on the side here, and you can really, if you really wanted, you could think of these as positives and this is negatives, but the absolute value, or use your calculator, you'll figure it out. Negative 360 and negative 360 is negative 720, plus 30 is going to be negative 690. Okay, and you can use your calculator for measure. But this is negative 690 rotation. Okay.